Time keeps on leaving and we keep on moving. When do we pass on our wisdom to the youth? My veteran story, lost arts discussions, fireside chats with a bourbon or two. It's time to hear the stories by our military veterans. Get yourself ready. It's the Lost Arts Podcast. The Lost Arts with Andrew Cox. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast. That podcast giving a voice to our veterans. On today's episode, we're going to have Marine veteran Ronnie Cerquina. And I don't know, I probably said that wrong, but that's okay. He'll correct me in just a couple minutes. But before we get into that podcast, are you enjoying it? Join the podcast and be sure to go to the Lost Art website. That's the lostart.podbean.com. Go in and click on that merchandise tab. Go in and see what kind of merchandise that you can get to help support what we got going on here, giving our veteran voices out for all to hear. All right, with that, I got Ronnie here. Ronnie, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. So I'm excited to hear your story, man. We go back a little ways, but then I kind of lost track of you a little bit. I'm excited to hear what all happened in your career whenever we parted ways.
Good to go. Just first of all, do I call you Master Guns or I call you
No,
Andrew?
you call me Andrew, you can call me AJ, you can call me whatever you want. I am no longer Master Guns, so yeah,
Hey, the reason
I'm
why I
a
bring
regular
this up,
civilian.
the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I have a Jesse Pinkham syndrome. I don't know if you watched Breaking Bad.
No, I don't know what that is.
All right, so for those who watch Breaking Bad, so you got the chemistry teacher and former students. They happen to bump into each other later down the road, and you just call, well, his student is Jesse Pinkham, but he would call his chemistry teacher Mr. White through the whole time instead of calling him darn Mr. Heisenberg. But anyways, so basically, if you haven't watched Breaking Bad, you got to watch it. You got to binge watch it. Basically, you got a science chemistry teacher turning into a freaking drug lord.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. I haven't watched it, but I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I
Interesting.
do the Jesse Pinkham thing like I'll use my band director from middle school. I would call him Mr. D, even though he goes by John. It's just I have that utmost respect for him. I
I got
cannot.
you.
It's weird. So that's why I have that Jesse Pinkham syndrome. All right, carry on.
Yeah,
Moving on.
no problem. Like I said, you can call me whatever you want. Hey, let's kind of go back to the beginning for you. So, where did you grow up, and then kind of what led you into the Marine Corps?
All right. So I'm from Morosi, California, Central Valley. So we're looking about maybe a 6 hour drive or 6.5 hour drive to Oceanside towards Camp Pendleton area, northbound of San Diego. So I'm like
Okay.
45 minutes away from Fresno, which is the dead center of California, the
Hmm.
Central Valley, surrounded by agriculture. We got some dairies. We got plenty of oranges. Oh, you'll see
Hmm.
all of our field workers there.
Hmm.
Um, Went to Rosie High School briefly for 2 years. Then I went to Golden West High School in Visalia.
Hmm.
The reason with the transition, let's just say I want different scenery, and I wanted a different scenery in the music setting. I came from not much of a recognized music program at the time, but shout out to my peer that I went to high school, Jonathan Gaspar, has an outstanding music program back in the Cutler Rossi Unified School District. But anyways, moving forward, so I'm gonna aspire to music major, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because my reasons of why I joined the Marine Corps, or excuse me,
Yeah.
why I joined the Marine Corps. I want to be part of the Marine Corps band.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see. So I did 7 years. Yeah, about almost I want to say 8 years of well, actually 7 years to get my undergrad degree in music education before I was gonna do the teaching credential.
Mm-hmm.
but I kind of bailed out of it again because of the Marine Corps band. But anyways, it took me 7 years to get my degree instead of 5 years because I went through some huge humps in my collegiate career to the point that yeah, I want to give I was I kind of gave up pursuing my music degree just because I was struggling in writing. But
Yeah.
anyways, I decided to do another semester or another year of marching band, and then I bumped into this cat named Abraham Fregoso. Shout out to him because he was just doing marching band, but he also was also prepping to be in the Marine Corps. Came from RSS Fresno, so shout out to him. He was the one that inspired
Hmm.
me to become a Marine. I'm all
Okay.
like, all right, because I was like at the lowest of my lows, but I decided to hang out with them. His mannerisms, he would do random pull-ups on the tree near the saxophone tree. Well, that's was normally where when we're in the marching band field, there's a tree, all the saxophone players. So I play saxophone for the marching band specifically, but I'm a bassoonist at trade. But anyways, he would just do random pull-ups there. I'm all like, I I want to give it a shot. Well, back then I was a fat body, but eventually I went to his his pulley function. I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. So I started working out with RS's Fresno, and then
Yeah.
I felt pretty good. Then I got busy with schooling. Then I ended up going to the neighboring recruiting station, RSS Clovis. That's the station that I end up being a pulley for, and that's only
Okay.
because it was just a mile away from where I was living at the time,
Right.
so it made it easier. But anyways, I joined the Marine Corps to be in the Marine Corps band. So
Yeah.
recruit training, I had adversity thrown at me. So me joining very, very late in the Marine Corps, age of 27. So I was the grand old man of the platoon,
Yeah.
not the whole company, because I believe there was a 34-year old prior service member was in my company.
Holy cow. 34. Woo.
Yeah. But I
That's
think I was the
crazy.
second oldest. Yeah,
Yeah.
but he's prior service, so he knows what's up.
Yeah. True. True.
But I'm from a different spectrum. 27-year-old, my drill instructor, Staff Sergeant Givings. Well, he's a gunny now, or he retired as a gunny, but now he's in Okinawa. Shout out to him. He called me out. You're a man child, Sir Quina. You are a man child. Aye, aye, sir. All right, good to go. Because again, I was 27 years old, the oldest guy in the platoon, but I was a man child because I was freaking out. I was one of those recruits that needed that extra help. So senior
Yeah.
drill instructor paired me with another recruit. Here you go, Sir. Here you go, Sir Quenya. This is your Marine. This is the Marine that's gonna help you. He is your answer to your problems. So he's all like, "Damn it, Sir Kenya, why the fuck am I paired up with you?" Because basically he was there to square me away.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, recruit training. But anyways, my way of getting through recruit training was every time I get PT'd, Marine Corps band. Every time I do stupid shit, Marine Corps band.
Yeah.
That was basically my little fishing net to be sure I stay on task.
Nice. Wow.
Let's see. What else can we talk about? So we are talking about recruit training now. Experiences. So again, so he was my Staff Sergeant Givings.
Hmm.
He was the what was the East Coast call it the heavy, right?
The
And
heavy.
then the
Yeah.
West Coast is the what drill hat or kill hat or
Kill
excuse me.
hat. Yeah.
No, he's not a kill hat. Is it J hat? Is that the
J.
equivalent?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
The
he
second
yeah.
one. Number two. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. So anyways, uh bearing for initial and was it initial drill? So we were
Hmm.
wearing Woodlands. So I joined was January. So I stepped on the yellow footprints on January 26, 2015.
Hmm.
3rd Battalion, Mike Company, Mighty Mike, sorry. I'm
Mighty Mike. Okay.
I read. So yeah, so I'm a 3rd Battalion recruit. So what first what's the saying? First Battalion makes Marines or man or actually as you were. First battalion makes men, second battalion makes Marines, third battalion makes machines. But anyways, I get sidetracked. So what are we talking? Oh, so during the initial drill, he's all like, "Sir Quentin, get over here. You're moving too freaking slow." So what happens? He grabbed four other recruits, and those four recruits were dressing me up. And
Wow.
then he's all like, "Check this out, Sir Quentin. This is you in the battlefield. If me and you were fighting and you were to got shot and get killed, this is your Marines taking care of you, triaging you, because you're a 27-year-old man. Can't figure the fuck out." Aye, aye, sir. But it was a very humbling experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so basically Marine Corps band drilling through my head. And then the Crucible, this is what I want to share. Are you so you're familiar with Ottorino Respighi, right? Pines of
Hmm.
Rome. All
Yep.
right, you know the last movements
The
of that piece. Basically, when they're just darn, I forgot what it's called, but it's just very, very low, very low
mhm.
wind, low woodwinds. But anyways, it's more
Yeah.
like a march type of deal. So I
Okay.
basically kept playing Pines of Rome, the last ending for. So for anyone who's musically inclined and know what I'm talking about, I just kept playing Pines of Rome in my head when we were going through the Crucible,
Yeah.
and that was moment once I got to receive right when we got to the very top of the Reaper. That's when I had the fanfare of the brass freaking doing their
Nice.
thing. So Eagle Globe and Anchor, and boom, Busted Tears, and bam, PFC Circania. Boom, boom,
Nice.
boom, boom.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so I graduated in so yeah, graduated April of 2015. My
Okay.
girlfriend, my wife now, as you were,
Hmm.
my wife now, my wife, well, my wife now of going on 9 years.
Nice.
July. Well, we'll talk about my wife a little bit more, but she was there, and my family came to family day and my graduation in San Diego. Good times.
Yeah. Wow. Very cool. How was that getting to see them after the 3 months or whatever? How was that for you?
The like graduate. I'm sorry.
At
The
graduation, that week, whenever you got to see your family, how was that for you?
Oh my gosh, it was great. It's good seeing my family again. But I did during senior drill instructor square away time, I did write a lot of letters, but I tried it brief and concise to the point. Hey, family,
Yeah.
I'm fine. I'm good. I'm just doing my thing. Boom, that's it.
Yeah.
And carry
Yeah.
on with the plan of the day.
Right on. Very
And
cool.
then
So you graduate, and then at this point, you had to go MCT. But did you take boot leave and all that stuff in the middle?
I did. I took boot leave. Well, I took boot leave and recruit and RA recruiting
Okay,
assistance.
recruiter's assistance. Yeah.
So that was pretty good times. But me being weirdos, a a fresh Marine, I was super booed and a super stiff, which I'm gonna talk about more once we get to the School of Music, because I was
Hmm.
a very very stiff and very low confident Marine at the time.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I was super booed as hell. We did had a pool function for the drill instructors come in and they go haze the pulleys and the guests. That was pretty cool. Um, I definitely got my first blasting for showing for showing up 30 minutes late to the RSS.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So it was humbling, but parade rest and chucks and good times. But yeah,
Wow. All right.
um,
Yeah.
I
So go ahead and talk to me about once you finish that, you go to MCT. Talk a little bit about MCT. Like, how did you enjoy that?
MCT was pretty cool, but I hate to say it, I was a shitbag, and that all I only because again, all I cared about was Marine Corps band, Marine Corps band. I didn't really think about the whole Marine Corps concept, and that is something I will mention once later down the chat. But all I cared was a Marine Corps band, right? But I
Yeah.
was a shitbag because there was times I freaking fall asleep in class or asleep while we're in formation, eyes closed or
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
whatnot. It was good times. I enjoyed my, other than that shit bag reels, it was a good experience. And then me and then like four other Marines, happened to be test subjects for the rat boots. I think it was
Oh,
Bayville. I think
okay.
that's one of the brands. So, so unanimous, and yet the unanimous, result was they don't like nobody didn't really like the rat boots, but I did for whatever reason. I liked them
Yeah.
so much that they let me keep those boots
Nice.
while
Okay.
everybody else gave up their boots because they were trying to test out the quality control, the quality of the boot.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So that, and then after I graduated MCT, went to Jib Little Creek Fort Story, known as, School of Music.
Okay. Yeah. And then what year was that you got to the School of Music? Was it
July 2015.
2015? Okay.
Right.
Uh
So I left School of Music right when you checked into the unit.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's how where we met.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. Very cool. So tell me about your experience there, showing up to the School of Music and your time there.
Oh my gosh, it was a love and hate relationship. I had a blast overall. I do want to give shout outs to the staff that were there. They
Hmm.
definitely squared away. And then we're gonna go ahead and talk about the ex-Div Marines. Do we even mention about the ex-Div Marines? Is that
I mean, you can, yeah. I've never really talked about the ex-Div Marines on here before, I don't think, but yeah, go ahead and talk about it, man.
so the ex-Div Marines? Okay, so those are the Marines that got dropped out of the School of Music since they had too much time in their hands, and basically, you know what? Working party. What the instrumental tech, Stats Sergeant Harnett. I think he's a gunny now,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, no, he is a gunny, but I don't know if he's a master sergeant now. I wouldn't be surprised if
I,
he is already.
I'm not sure.
I
I'd
don't.
have
I'm no.
to look that up.
I don't know. Yeah, I haven't Facebook stalked him for a while. But anyways,
Yeah.
the ex-Dev Marines, they squared me away. They taught me how to, well, not taught, but they kind of taught me tricks how to iron the uniform.
Yeah,
They just
yeah.
got me squared away, and I basically mastered rolling up sleeves, the really basic Marine stuff, right?
Hmm.
So I got to give
Yeah.
out a shout out to them. But again, that's a reflection of the leadership at the School of Music. So I got there. So when I got to the School of Music, I came in a contract as a clarinet player.
Okay.
So that's where I really set myself for failure. I'm a bassoonist at trade. That's where I put my heart and dedication to while I was doing my undergrad. But I started
Hmm.
off as a clarinet player in the sixth grade, and switched to bass clarinet, switched to tenor sax. But I was that kid that switched to instrument throughout high school or middle
Hmm.
school and high school. But switching to clarinet and not being classically trained is what basically set me to fail. And it's
Okay.
also because I had to go through an embouchure reset, the proper
Hmm.
way to get that really nice clarinet tone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that became a slay fest on my embouchure. And then plus, I haven't been keeping up with clarinet scales again. I would have had a fighting chance as a bassoon player, but again,
Yeah.
the choices that I made. But anyways, I eventually got dropped. I was placed in an academic review board.
Hmm.
That was pretty tough. Yeah, it kind of like boom shot. So I got depressed.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I tried to make the best situation. The platoon sergeant at the time, Staff Sergeant Gunny Kopetsky, but I think she's
Mhm.
married to
Yeah.
what to
Uh,
Chief Warren.
Captain
Chief Warren.
Captain
He's a
Talbot
he's a
now.
captain. Yeah, he's
He
a
is. Yeah.
captain now, who happened to
Yeah.
be my instructor for the music theory part.
Okay. Yeah. 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 Very cool.
So yeah,
Yeah, and they're
she's all
they're
like,
both in DC now. They're up in
okay,
DC area. Yeah.
but yeah, but she's all like, well, Mr. Quinn, since you have a lot of time in your hands, go ahead and go take care of your annual training, and then that's where I, that I spent my time in the LRC just doing annual training, and then any other NCIs. That's the part
Yeah.
where I kind of start clicking, where I decided to be a Marine now,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
actually take it more seriously, because needs of the Marine Corps, they can just reclass me to whatever. But
Hmm.
luckily, I had the choice to do avionics because I saw all the ex-div Marines. They just became air wingers. Well, the majority of them became
Yeah.
ex-wing wingers. Oh, excuse me. Did I say ex-wingers? I meant to say air
Yeah. Air
wingers.
wingers. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, School of Music was pretty cool. I did get in, I did get some negative paperwork, and I think it was because my girlfriend, or my wife now, decided to visit me, and I forgot to practice over the weekend. So
Yeah.
me being a man of integrity, I told my instructor, and she's like, negative counseling.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the master guns at the time chewed my butt off real bad. I think I got heart. I got hemmed up, not only because of the practice. I think it was because of the practice, but not filling out the log. But anyways,
Yeah.
I basically was placed on restriction for 30 days. You're gonna be in camis or chucks for that 30 days. And my mind is woohoo, because all I care about is to get to the school. That's all I
Yeah.
cared.
Yeah.
I'll just stay in the practice room. But within that short period of time, there's so much you can do to grasp and try to learn. But anyways, I failed out. But anyways, my time, I made some friends that I stayed in contact with. And then two of my ex-div Marines, two of them came with me to go to Pensacola, Florida for avionics school. So now we'll
Okay.
go ahead and transition to avionics school. So again, so all three of us are now Lance Corporals, right? Senior Lance
Hmm.
Corporals, checking on to um, avionics going Pensacola. And based on our experience, we were correcting Marines left and right. And then that's the character development, which made me care about the Marine Corps more. That's when I became
Yeah.
super the gung ho Marine, if you can say, super
Yeah. Yeah.
moto,
Yeah.
super boot, the whole nine. But anyways, we got to Pensacola correcting Marines. Because hey, and they all freaking call us, hey, Lance Corporal, Rod Lance Lance Corporal, like like it means
Yeah.
something, right? Senior Lance
That's
Corporal.
right. Yeah.
So that it was a 9 month ordeal being there, because for the first 30 days we're just in this working party until they put us into school. So all three of us were AVI, so basically intermediate maintenance. So basically there's three strands in the avionics field. So you got the O strand, organizational level, basically just being in the flight line and moving big parts. Anyone in the comment section, please correct me if I'm wrong. Um, then the three of us, we're eye level, eye strand. So this is basically dealing with small components. And then
Okay.
you got the AE level, which is basically a wire chaser,
Okay.
troubleshooting wires. So once we classed up, then we did the basic electronics course. I struggled a little bit just because I wasn't really what's the word, vocabulary savvy. So
Yeah.
I had to, it was a learning curve for me. But once we get to iStrand, so basically 1 month of the basic electronics course, basically, some a little bit of math, but you learn terms like resistance or resistors, the components. You learn Ohm's law. Was it voltage? Was it voltage? I forgot
Okay.
about Ohm's law, but anyways, good times. And then once we got to iStrand, they call it the hardest level of avionics, just because there's a high failure rate in that. So I'd be sure I
Mhm.
had to study my butt off on that. And I was like one of the top. kid, or excuse me, top Marines in the class. Well, which
Okay.
is also cool. I forgot to mention back to the School of Music. You know how like we collaborate with Navy.
Yeah.
So I got to collaborate with Navy personnel again. So when we got to, well, I mean, half of the class is Marines and half of the class are sailors. So I rebuild that camaraderie again, just like I built that camaraderie back at the School of Music with the sailors. Forgot to throw that out, but yeah. So I had Marine instructors. I also had Navy instructors that instructed us, and a civilian instructor who was a former gunny.
Okay.
Um, so Ice Strand, it was heck, but there was a lot of terms that required a lot of memorization. So I was like flashcards, like to
Mhm.
the T. There was a lot of math in there too, just basically
Yeah.
trigonometry. And
Uh,
I was a math whiz. So
oh,
mathematics was
cool.
my second passion to music when I was in middle school and high school. But anyways, that was a 3 hour, or excuse me, not 3 hour, 3 month ordeal.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
graduate from there, and then they sent us what is called C school, a Navy term, right? Basically, school
Hmm.
after school. So I remained in Pensacola while my two Lance Corporal peers, Lance Corporal Adams and Lance Corporal Nicholson, they end up going to Biloxi, Mississippi for
Okay.
calibration school. I got sent to literally down they just moved me down to the barracks down the street, which is
Yeah.
basically the fleet barracks. Um, so basically it's called MATSI, maintenance air traffic control. So I
Oh, I
became
see. Yeah.
the maintainer. So my emphasis is learning how to troubleshoot the radar. That was a
Hmm.
2 month ordeal, you know,
Whew. I imagine
pretty
that's
pretty
not easy.
yeah, and but that was more fast paced. But anyways, what got me placed in an academic review board on that course was because of a safety failure that I accidentally did. So basically, I had a tough book. I don't know if the school you heard of a tough book, avionics. So the last gist of it, so going to maintenance air traffic control platoon basically, but the emphasis of radar. So now going from the basic electronics course barracks, the J barracks, that's what they called it, and going to the fleet barracks. It was a huge transition.
Hmm.
Um, that schoolhouse environment, so I didn't touch on the barracks environment, but we had to sign in and out if we want to go to Liberty, and then when we get to when we check into Pensacola, everyone's in the 30-day, or actually like a 2 month uniform restriction. So it's uniform of the
Oh,
day
okay.
until you're, yeah, until like, yeah, I think it was 2 months. Because
Wow.
I didn't get to wear a civilian attire until I was in the ice strand course.
Wow. That's quite a long time then.
Yeah. So before I finish up the schooling, I mean I'm sorry, the maintenance air traffic control school. So the
Yeah.
environment, from switching from School of Music to the avionic schoolhouse, or just the environment, it was just
Hmm.
really high tempo. I actually see a lot of screaming and blasting from the staff NCOs. I mean,
Yeah.
at the time,
Yeah.
it was a different animal. But with me and the two other lance corporals with me, we held our own, just because the way the School of Music set us up for
Yeah.
success as a basically trained Marine. Well, excuse me, as a basic Marine, right?
Hmm.
Um, to the point we're squaring away Marines. Prior to uniform inspection, we make sure they were like good, squared away and good to go.
Right.
What else could I say? So, if I don't know if you know anything about Pensacola, but it's called Prison Cola for a reason, because it's the NJP capital of the world. And I witnessed a public NJP in formation. Well, it was a giant squadron formation, I'm not used to using that term squadron formation only because, me being a Fleet Marine Motor T, we use, well, depending on what unit you're at, we use battalion, right? But
Yeah.
squadron. But anyways, the whole squadron, we're all gathered, and then you got the PT table in the center, and we initiated a public NJP. Basically, Marine got he got NJP'd for stealing from his roommate, I guess a laptop or something.
Oh wow.
So he got busted down to privates and the removal of his McMat belts. So he went back to web belt, and he was going to be uh admin set. Excuse me, can't speak
Yeah.
English right now. But yeah, that was like holy crap. That was like a I felt like a rock concert, but yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely an eye-opening thing to have a public NJP. Yeah.
Yeah, but also witnessing like 20 other, or excuse me, that's what like at least 10, witnessing 10 of my peers getting NJP, alcohol
Wow.
incident, you know.
Yeah.
Um, you know, um a nice and I'm gonna go ahead and give out a shout out. I'm not gonna give this Marine her name. Um So she got knocked down in private, but looking forward, I think she's a staff sergeant now, or probably getting into what do you call it? Um off OCS. So
Oh, okay. Yeah.
so that's
Very
pretty
cool.
that's pretty awesome. And then
Yeah.
once I before I got into the maintenance air traffic control school, I bumped into two of my other ex-Div Marines, Lance Corporal McConnell and Lance Corporal Bogan. McConnell, he's now in the fleet. Well, he ended up killing it in his MOS. He became an air traffic control Marine. So I kind of
Okay.
set him up to success because I was scaring him. Yeah, it's a high what's the word fail rates.
Hmm.
So I kind of helped him get his mindset. Then I bumped into Lance Corporal Bogan. I don't know if you remember Bogan. So
Yeah.
now he's a first lieutenant. Another Marine who got dropped from schoolhouse and air crew. Well, so air crew is the schoolhouse in Pensacola, but he got dropped out of air crew because of injury related. So he also got reclassed to Motor T. He became a Motor T op, and I
Oh wow.
became a
Okay.
Motor T mech, which I'll touch in a bit. So yeah, Bogan is now he went through OCS, so he's a first
Nice.
lieutenant as a financial officer, I believe. I think that's what he is now. He's in he's doing great things. He's in Okinawa now.
Very cool. Yeah, yeah.
But anyway,
That's nice.
so now I
Nice
got
hearing about.
to
It's nice hearing about where everybody's at and what they're doing now. So it's cool.
oh heck yeah, right? So now going forward to rate maintenance air traffic control. Man, I have to think about it so much time. So I'm gonna call it MATC for short. So I got to
Okay.
MATC. So again, it's a very small personnel, small class. I mean, not I mean small amount of students,
Yeah.
going from 200 plus Marines and sailors to 200 plus Marines and sailors
Hmm.
to maybe about 30 Marines or 30 student status Marines.
Yeah.
Um, PT, so I forgot to touch on PT. PT was freaking great in Pensacola. You have the humidity, and then we do the what do you call it? The lighthouse run. Oh my gosh, I miss my runs in Pensacola. But anyways, so I got there, and then I also proposed to my girlfriend, my now wife of going on 9 years at the Aviation Museum in Pensacola. So I proposed to her
Ah,
during
okay.
my time in the schoolhouse, and I also married her in the schoolhouse. Like, oh my gosh, another boot, freaking marrying another boot story in the schoolhouse, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
again, the only difference is I'm a 27-year-old Marine or person that,
Yeah.
went through life experience. But yeah, so I married my wife in Pensacola, good times. July
Very
8th of
nice.
2016 is when I married with her.
Okay.
So like, okay, okay, Sir Kenyan, now you're married to your wife. So are you trying to move your wife over here? And I'm like, nah, she's gonna go back home until I graduate. Then we'll figure it out. Because at that time I was collecting BAH.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, which I'll talk about later. But anyways, I end up getting kicked out of MATC because of a safety failure. Basically, it was a troubleshooting procedure from a laptop from a tough book. Basically, it's a
Mhm.
yeah, you know what a tough book. I think
Yeah.
before you made that head call, I was asking you about the tough book. But anyways, troubleshooting from a I was troubleshooting a satellite attached to a Humvee, and I accidentally put radiate instead of maintenance mode. So basically, if anyone was near near that near that equipment, they would have got radiated, and I don't know, they
Oh
probably
wow.
yeah. So boom, they failed me, and it's crazy too. And I want to bring this up because the same Master Guns from the School of Music gave me the speech. I mean, so the Master Guns from the School of Music and the Mass Sergeant from the School of Matsi gave me the same speech. You know what? We're gonna drop you, and because I don't think you'll be happy in this MOS. Those
Yeah.
were the exact same words. So now I kind of have to ask you that question. Was that something you had to be trained as being a senior enlisted advisor at the school when Marines get dropped?
No, no, not necessarily.
Okay,
To a
but it was
certain
just
extent, I can see what the point is if you are like if you're struggling at a schoolhouse, right, and then you get to the fleet and you're still struggling,
yeah,
like in the band, for example, you have to play to a certain grade every time you get promoted and stuff like that. Well, if you're constantly struggling and fighting that, then that it does make for a not so wonderful experience. So you get I don't want to say jaded, but you get frustrated with the way things are, or whatever. So yeah, to a certain extent, yeah, you may not be having fun from that
yeah.
standpoint. So I can kind of see where they're coming from with it.
Yeah, but it was basically a two-shot, one kill because it was just an automatic academic review board. Like, bruh, like at least recycle me. But I think
Yeah.
I understood why because I only had a 4-year contract. Most aviation contracts are 5-year
Oh yeah.
contracts. So now it made sense to me drawing up that conclusions after being in the fleet. But anyways, now. Moving forward to Camp Lejeune, known as Camp
Okay.
Johnson. So this is where, whoo, it's a huge transition going,
Yeah.
it's very mind-boggling. I mean, really stressing from band to avionics, then go to Motor T. Motor T maintenance. So I'm a 3521 for those. So since I did not make it official, I'm a 3521 for those who wasn't following. But anyways, 3521, basically being a maintainer. So again, a different schoolhouse environment. It was more relaxed than avionics and the School of Music, but it was more
Wow.
of a culture shock because I was already used to the structure from two previous schoolhouse.
Hmm.
But with all of that experience under my belt, I was just basically just being a senior lance corporal, freaking
Yeah.
handling issues right then and there, making corrections left and right. That's where my confidence developing as a Marine. My confidence actually kicked in even more when I decided to be calling out running cadences at the Motor T schoolhouse, and I
Nice.
dominated in that. I mean, that was
Yeah.
my only outlet to music
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
since I'm not in a Marine Corps band, but I was just kicking it and even drilling. Because
Hmm.
when we were in Pensacola, we would march from the barracks to the schoolhouse or march from the schoolhouse to the mess hall.
Yeah.
So I got some a little bit of drill under my belts. But anyways, back to Motor T school. Again, Camp Lejeune, really hot. being checking in and alphas with the humidity. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's see, what else can I say? They immediately put me up in the class because I've been in the schoolhouse or student status for too long.
yeah.
Um, and I feel like my experience at the schoolhouse was the hardest thing I ever had to deal with. And the reason being, again, coming from college, all I knew was being book smart.
Yeah.
I never held a tool in my life,
Hmm.
and that was a struggling learning curve. But the way how the schoolhouse operates, it's more like we're gonna show you these tools, we're gonna have you work on these trucks, and that's it. So,
Okay.
that's how I skate. That's how I got through the Motor T school.
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
But yeah, and deal with the extreme humidity and the extreme cold in Camp Lejeune. That's crazy.
Yeah. And how long were you there at the
Um,
schoolhouse there?
so all right, so 6 months at School of Music, 9 months in Pensacola, so 6 months in Motor T school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
So
much.
that's
Yeah, so
quite a bit of schoolhouse time before you haven't even made it to the fleet at this point. And
nope.
yeah, that's
And
quite a
then
bit.
what do you call it? I think it was the company gunnery sergeant pulled me up into his to the office, told me, "Hey, Marine, you rate the cutting score to be a corporal."
While you were at the schoolhouse.
Yep, for all that time.
Yeah.
Like, but we're gonna go ahead and non-rec you because you're in student status mode. I'm all like, I completely understand, Gunny. So yeah, so that's also a humbling.
Wow.
Well, that's where I'm gonna get into the motor seat. So Mo moving forward, I graduated from the school, excuse me, the Motor T school.
Hmm.
Finally hit the fleet after 2 years. So now Marine Corps, originally I wanted to go East Coast. I was originally I was gonna go to New River as a avionics Marine, but I'm
Hmm.
like, you know what? I'm kind of tired. I'm tired of the East Coast to send me back to West Coast, so I ended up in Camp Pendleton.
Okay.
So I finally hit the fleet in January of 2017. So that's
Hmm.
basically almost 2 years student status, recruit training, MCT schoolhouse.
Yeah, yeah.
So I finally hit the fleet. I checked into, I noticed a theme in your podcast. You have a bunch of first maintenance battalions Marines in your podcast. So boom, a shout
Yeah, yeah,
out.
yeah. Yeah,
But
it's
on the
funny.
motor, so yeah. So I checked in the First Maintenance Battalion, CLR 15. Good time. So so everything that I learned in the schoolhouse was only
Mhm.
SAC. So I don't know if you understand, but there's like different levels of maintenance in the Motor T
Mhm.
field. So you
Right.
got first echelon, basically the Motor T operators, the truck drivers. They
Hmm.
would basically do their own inspections, grease up their own trucks and fill their tires. Second echelon is basically your preventative maintenance. And then you got the third echelon, which is engine rebuilds and transmission rebuilds and putting it up all together. And then there's like a
Hmm.
fourth echelon is basically working on um refurbishing starters or
Oh,
other
wow. Yeah.
components. So and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
then after fourth echelon you got the depot level. So me being a maintenance battalion, I'm been sent to the fleet to do third echelon, even though I was trained second echelon, and that's basically OJT all over again.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that was a heck of an experience being in truck teams of me and then three other Marines on one truck, whether it was a Humvee, whether it was a 7 ton or it was an MRAP.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like holy crap. Again, that that kind of amplified my overwhelmingness because I never touched a tool in my life. I busted my
Yeah.
knuckles a couple of times to the point that yeah, I'm not touching the truck, so I was kind of like quote unquote hiding. I was
Yeah.
in the truck team. I let everyone, yeah, busted the knuckles. Yeah, I still got that scar, but anyways, it's part of the that's part of the turning, burning, and wrenching experience.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So where
That's
was I going with maintenance battalion? Hold on, I got my little notes here. So boom. Yeah, so introduced to the fleet, being at parade rest by a 20-year-old female corporal, about 5'1" ish, maybe she's, yeah, 5 foot. That was a very humbling experience,
yeah.
being at
Yeah.
parade
Yeah.
rest, but being an older Marine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But fast forward, we're good friends. We'll throw message, left and back and forth. Well, her and her husband, because she married her husband, and well, we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
As far as Marines marrying within the unit, and then they end up getting
Hmm.
separated or go
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
move to
Yeah.
another section. I know that's kind of different with the band field. I don't know.
Yeah.
You can
Well,
correct
it
me if I'm wrong.
happens. Yeah. Yeah. It definitely happens for sure.
Yeah, but also what's funny too, after marrying my wife, I was collecting BAH from the remaining time I was in Pensacola and while I was at Motor T school,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
which is funny because I end up using those funds to purchase my bassoon.
Oh, really?
Fought, yeah, and
Wow.
a 9 grand bassoon, which now is worth 11.5K in
Wow.
this beautiful Biden inflation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Holy
yeah, I
cow.
invested in a bassoon, yeah. So, just to
That's
um,
cool.
uh, but anyways, yeah, maintenance battalion. So what can I talk about maintenance battalion? So we focus. So in my platoon, it's called basically MTM or motor transport maintenance company MTM. So basically, our responsibility is just third echelon, what I mentioned earlier. But we
Hmm.
also get tasked to go to other units to do second echelon within the first MEF.
Oh, okay.
So imagine, but also, and for your listeners or other staff NCOs that were part of maintenance battalion, they know about maintenance battalion. It's like a worst nightmare for a staff NCO. The reason being because you're controlling like a three like if I could do math for Marines, I think you're dealing with at least 300 Marines within the company.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then you got maybe about 50 Marines per platoon. So you got first platoon, second platoon, third platoon, and MTP, which is MTP is basically a platoon full of operators, your truck drivers, but a
Hmm.
handful of maintainers.
Okay.
But anyways, so what happens in maintenance battalion, we create what is called, so I already mentioned maintenance, main MSTs, right?
Hmm.
Maintenance support team supporting the
Hmm.
one MEF. So this is my quote unquote deployment. So I got sent to 5th Marines doing maintenance over there. Got sent to 11th Marines, did maintenance
Okay.
there. Also went to 29 Palms. That was
Hmm.
that was that's a heck of an experience. Let's see what other MSTs. Delmar.
Hmm.
I think at the where the darn, I'm gonna get
The
reamed up.
tracks.
No, it's not tracks. It's where the is it the 31st Mew?
Oh, yeah. I think so. I'm not 100%, but
Yeah.
one of
So
the M's is
basically,
there. I know that.
yeah, one, yeah. So we did a maintenance support, yeah, for maintenance support team for the Mew, and
Hmm.
then I also did a maintenance support team with CLR 15, which is well, I'm part of CLR 15, but it has its own little section. Oh, headquarters company, but they're not
Oh,
within the
okay.
battalion. It's crazy. I don't know. That's just crazy how that works. But anyways, let's see what else I can say. So that was my experience, and again, never touching a tool. It's it was a learning curve, but I eventually got it. Not good enough, but I I got it. Let's see, what else can I say? So maintenance check in. So during my time, I also got the experience of, working up my belts. I worked
Mhm.
up from gray to gray and green belt. Staff Sergeant Diaz, he was my instructor. Kudos to
Okay.
him. He was a wonderful McMap instructor. Ironically, we're both the same age. Again, I joined late. He joined right at high school.
Yeah.
Good leadership. He was the EO of the battalion,
Okay.
right?
Wow.
The pre-DEI BS.
Hmm.
But anyways, I built up to green under Corporal Webb. He was from another, but he was another from another company, but within maintenance battalion.
Yeah.
Shout out to him because he freaking slayed the hell out of me
Yeah.
and McNabb. I
Okay.
don't know what is up with him and Staff Sergeant Diaz, but ever heard of alligators?
No.
So basically, you're in a plank position and you're hopping,
Oh,
and
really?
that my biggest complaint about that, it just hurts my toes,
Yeah.
but it's a hell of a core workout.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
imagine so.
yeah, he made me work. We did tire flips up the hill from the lowest hill of Pulgus and going
Uh-huh.
up to the very top to the field farm. That was hell of a PT
Whoa.
session. And then
Yeah.
doing those what do you call those the ridge run. We have a ridge right
Hmm.
behind right behind the company, right behind the company. I missed those runs too. Well, not with just him, but also with with the staff that would run PT sometimes, and he'll
Hmm.
run us to the ridge line at his pace. There was only 5 Marines that could keep up. Oh, by the
Oh,
way,
wow.
I'm a heavy body Marine too, so I'm always 1 pound away from my max weight. But I was one of the top
Yeah.
5 Marines to keep up at his speed and to run it under 19 minutes. I
Oh,
was one of
wow.
I was that. But again, that was because I did cross country in high school and I just knew
Yeah.
how to
Yeah. Yeah.
run and know how to stay relaxed when it comes to running. But that's besides the point. I
Yeah.
missed Staff Sergeant McMillan's PT run, but he's now a gunny now. Shout out to
Okay.
him. Let's see, what else can I say? I also did mount training. I think that was
Hmm.
in the Duluth area. Oh my
Okay.
gosh. So basically learning how to, do infantry stuff, right? Mount training.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. I got so reamed up by the staff over there.
Yeah.
Excuse me, yeah, the staff members at the schoolhouse. Cause like I was like shooting the shit with one of the officers, and I left my
Hmm.
my rifle away, and and then the sergeant that was basically leading the class, he took my rifle apart, and he freaking screamed, "Weapon gear body, weapon gear body!" My Hi, sergeant. But that was one hell of an experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Let's see, mount training. Yeah, I mean, let's see. I talked about McMahon, boom, and then so going back to my bassoon, forking out my
Hmm.
BAH and investing to the bassoon. So I end up so during my off time, I was part of the Coastal Community Band, based on Carlsbad,
Yeah.
or excuse me, yeah, they perform in Carlsbad, but they rehearse in Encinitas, one of
Hmm.
the one of the schools in Encinitas. So that was an experience, and basically what I've learned from the School of Music from Sergeant Tompo. Well, now she's a warrant officer, and the
Yeah.
biggest emphasis that she really harped on me is full air, like blowing through the musical instruments, like full air.
Yeah.
And because of that, I have to give out a shout out to her. Now, I developed a way bigger sound in my bassoon playing. So
Nice.
now
Okay.
I'm always playing loud. But basically, I was using my outlet at Coastal Community Bands to prep up to re-audition for the band again. Well, you were there
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
briefly, but we'll,
Uh-huh.
we'll we'll talk about that later. So maintenance battalion. So I did Coastal Community. So after three non-recs, four non-recs later, this was January of 2018. If I did Math of Marines correctly, I was
Okay.
finally penned corporal. And the reason
Yeah.
being, again, I got non-rec because, I barely got to the fleet. Two, I unked in the
Mhm.
rifle range.
Oh no.
Um, yeah, and then three, I wasn't PME complete at the time, but that was a humbling experience. Unking in the rifle range. When I went the second time go around, I just kept asking questions left and right. Good
Yeah.
afternoon, Corporal. So, you know, asking him questions. I just kept asking questions about, rifle fundamentals,
Hmm.
slow, steady, squeeze, the acronym fat bitches, or I forgot what that acronym was. I think it had something to do with breath control and pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
boom, then I finally got expert, but I still got that pizza box because I unked.
Yeah. 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 But you
But
were able to.
anyways,
You figured it
yeah,
out though. That's the important
I
part.
figured it out, right? Like any other
Yeah.
Marine's gonna have to figure it out somehow.
Yeah. Very true.
So yeah, so now I'm finally penned corporal. Boom, and then in the very, I only had like a less than a year left in my contract. So I became a corporal. Now I became a lead and an MST going to 1-4. Oh my gosh, I've got to mention the China Marines 1-4, Fourth Marines.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was basically leading my peers who also happened to be corporals, but I kind of took the initiative because hey, I might as well take a good squeeze of being a corporal of Marines because I was like, oh my gosh, so anxious to be a corporal. And being
Yeah.
an NCO, Red Stripes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I was leading a maintenance support team. Good times, but what kind of sucked was I'll take responsibility for me bringing this up, but I was doing the maintenance of my own truck, but I left my tough book, so they decided to fuck with me
Mm.
real bad, weapon gear body, but but I mean, there's a time for place for that, but not with the maintenance support team. So I had to report that to my chain of command, and there was a falling out between the maintenance chief and then the maintenance the MST lead. So you
Hmm.
know, but again, gear accountability, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But that left a black guy. But anyways, so now being a corporal of Marines, going to MSTs, going into 11th Marines, I was now in charge of the what do you call those Marines? Reserve Marines, because they come in, so I was just making sure
Oh, right.
they were good, taken care of. I wasn't doing much of the maintenance part. I was doing more of the administrative part. All right, Marine, what were you working on? A Humvee, great. What kind of maintenance? Okay, preventative maintenance. Okay, boom. All right. Okay, Marine, you're doing second echelon stuff. Okay, you're troubleshooting. All right, give me your accomplishments. Basically, I had to do a tracker of everything that they were doing.
Right.
I end up getting what do you call that? A letter of appreciation, and
Okay.
so did the other Marines within that within that um within that main support team. Then they put me to corporal's course. That
Nice.
was one. That was a heck of an experience. I got
Hmm.
gung ho.
Nice.
Got the
Okay.
gung ho award. Really nice plaque with the replica of a K bar, but it was a
Yeah.
really nice plaque. I'll probably have to like show send you a photo of it sometime. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Definitely.
corporal's course. Let's see what else. And then the crossroads. Now this is where me and you met once again with you and
Hmm.
Sergeant D'Souza, now Staff Sergeant
Hmm.
D'Souza,
Yeah.
try to come back to the band field. Again, I was practicing with Coastal Community Band, working on my skills. So while I was doing maintenance and during my downtime, I'll be in the barracks playing the bassoon. Oh, you're the bassoon guy. And I would just be record left and right. I don't know if that's in
Yeah.
social media or whatnot. I'm pretty sure it's there. But yeah, I was the bassoon guy. But yeah, so the crossroads, I came in, I was speaking with you. You were the mass sergeant at the time.
Hmm.
And then, I think it was Gunny A, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And basically auditioned, and then, I got feedback, and then we were supposed to make arrangements for me and Staff Sergeant D'Souza to meet up and practice, but I had to
Hmm.
get the blessings from my Master Sergeant.
Yeah.
It didn't work out because I was received orders to go back to the advanced course. And by the way, I just re-enlisted. Hoorah!
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
re-enlisted for another year. So the crossroads. So I forgot to, mention it to you or Staff Sergeant Staff Sergeant D'Souza that hey, I'm moving forward being Motor T since I already invested a good almost 2 years into it. So I might as well grow with it. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
went
Yeah.
to the advanced course back to Lejeune,
Hmm.
and that was, good times. I was struggling with all the school stuff. Like, oh my gosh, this is like a replay again of the
Hmm.
my schoolhouse experience. But I end up for some reason, well, not some reason, I know a lot of hard work and studying and no time off. I end up becoming like number 3 in the class.
Nice. Okay.
That was a pretty cool. That was pretty cool. So that was from December of 2018 and coming back to Pendleton in 2019. So
Okay.
boom, I came back. I came back to maintenance battalion, and then one of my peers came to me, "Hey, Sir Kenyon, what's going on tomorrow?" I'm all like, "I don't know, promotions." "Yeah, dude, you're getting promoted to sergeant." Like, what?
Oh, wow. Nice.
So now it became a reverse Uno now. So with all my peers and all the corporals that were ahead, that were already in the fleet, I end up outranking them. And again, it's because of time of service.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just
Wow.
barely beat the updated Maradmin with the picking up corporal and sergeant. So I just barely slipped through the cracks and picked up sergeants. Woo! Sergeant of
Yeah.
Marines. Oh my God. That was a different learning curve too. Now I'm in charge of the Marines. Now I have to
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
care of their needs. That was a how do I say it? It was something, and the reason being because so picking up platoon sergeant, learning, how to fill up the NPR, creating rosters
Hmm.
left and right. But under my charge, I lost one of my Marines,
Mm.
Corporal Salcido. Um, after Salcido and Sauce, after Sauce and 3 of his Marines, all got expert in the rifle range, they decided to have a too much of a celebration, and the Marines got in a car accident, and apparently, I
Mm.
guess he flew through the windshield, and we lost them.
Wow.
We lost Corporal Sauce. Yeah, we
Mm.
lost Corporal Sauce. What's heartening because brand new platoon sergeant. Like, how the heck do I deal with that? I mean, yes,
Yeah.
I'm the platoon sergeant, but I had my staff NCOs having my back. We got you, Sir Kenya. Like, this is brand spanking new. And what was crazy was we ended up having a funeral up in San Fernando Valley for him. Everybody was in
Mhm.
dress blues. I think about one third of the battalion went to his funeral. So it
Oh, wow.
was I don't know how to say it. I don't know how it feels to, the Marine that you're in charge of losing his life, but also witnessing him being buried, and all of us just
Mm.
stood there in our blues in the scorching sun,
Yeah.
like what the heck, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, platoon sergeant, like it was hell of a thing. And then, I'm not much of a maintainer, so this is another character development. I'm gonna call this the boogeyman. My boogeyman as a Marine was I wasn't good at maintenance. I was
Hmm.
having, again, I still having that learning curve of being a maintenance. So I was placed in and a maintenance support team of myself and two other lance corporals from second platoon and third platoon respectively. These were
Mm-hmm.
the shitbags of the company. But anyways, I had a couple of falling outs, and it's because, well, again, me not much in the schoolhouse. You know, I only focus on second echelon, but be thrown onto learning to do third echelon, but not knowing second echelon. It put me in a really bad position. I had to lead two other lance corporals, you know, the most misbehaved lance corporals. You know, sometimes we fap out Marines that are, you know, garbage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they were they were a headache. But anyways, I have a cognitive I have a conflicting dissonance, and basically me not being mechanic savvy, I would always go up to them for help. But when it was time for me to hold them accountable as Marines, you know,
Yeah.
that shit sucks. And I think that goes back to the saying, you reap what you sow. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
wish I spent more time on the maintenance. I mean, I did, but I just need more time, if that makes sense. And
Yeah.
another
No, it
thing
does.
too, the double-edged sword of being in the schoolhouse status for so long and being quickly promoted to sergeant, that does not help my case, you know.
Yeah.
And not just only that, I got a lot of criticism from my corporal peers, you know, but now they're under my charge. Like they, you know, it was so bad. They'd be like, "Screw you, Sir Kenny, you're a freaking sergeant." You know, they shouldn't be talking to me like that. But again, the newly promoted sergeants, I just did not know how to grasp that, and
Yeah.
I wasn't ready to pick up sergeants at all.
Yeah.
But hindsight 2020, that experience with those two shitbag Marines, again, that's the boogeyman that really haunts me. Like shit, so that's when it hit me really hard. So I just re-enlisted, not to go to another unit, and I'm expected to know maintenance. And now I was having panic attacks, like holy crap, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then and then I was on an MST. Pretty cool, a pretty cool story. So right after that experience, I went on an MST up in 29 Palms. I got to fly an aircraft. I forgot what is it called. Oh, I'm such a. But anyways, we got on this hovering aircraft. I think it's a
The
Osprey. Yeah,
Austin, the
I think it was a
Osprey.
Osprey. So that was a pretty nice experience. Yeah, it was a pretty nice experience. We flew from Pendleton. So we were at this time we were also conducting a battalion excuse me, it was a battalion FX, but implementing the whole regiment of CLR 15. So that was pretty
Oh
cool.
wow.
But going on that Osprey experience, but doing maintenance support team and 29 Palms, but it just freaked me out. Okay, what freaked me out was because I got orders to Okinawa.
Okay.
So when I talked to the I forgot the monitor. I think that's the term, the monitor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The monitor roadshow. He's all like, "Where do you want to go, Marine?" I'm all like, "I'm trying to stay either Camp Pendleton, Camp Pendleton, Miramar, or 29 Palms." That's what I told him. Well, you got three choices. You got Okinawa, and Iwakuni. I'm all like, "What?" And I was like,
Wow.
"Fuck." And I'm freaking out again because I'm not being competent in my MOS. Like, holy crap, you know? So you got two choices. You got those three choices. So I end up picking uh uh 3 MEF support battalion. So under the MiG,
Mm-hmm.
third MEF information group. So it was probably MHG during your time, but you said it
Yeah.
was something completely different during your time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I got sent. But anyways, like I was just having panic attacks left and right. I could not even function as a sergeant of Marines.
Yeah.
So luckily,
Wow.
my peers that were corporals, they finally picked up sergeants, so they kind of like what's the word? They basically carried my slack. But at least one positive note after, getting those orders, I also had the luxury of going to being placed to go to sergeant school immediately before going to Okinawa. So that was
Yeah.
a good PME slash going away party, the way I see it,
Yeah.
because
Very
which I'll
true.
bring up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So being super PME completes. So that's a good thing. Yeah. Let's see. So yeah, now I got orders to go to Oki, and then that was a life-changing experience for my wife
Mm-hmm.
because my wife's very, very family oriented. But now I'm all like, well, I'm gonna keep you away from your family again. Now we're gonna be on a rock for 3 years. So, boom,
Mm-hmm.
we get to Okinawa. So I'm gonna go into my notes here real quick.
No problem.
So third MEF information group, third MSB, which stands for third MEF support battalion. So basically, the support, the mission for the MSB is basically we're basically supporting the whole three MEF. Basically,
Oh wow. Yeah.
that's what it essentially is, and that was that was an experience. So basically, now I'm in another company with 50 plus Marines. Like, whoa, thank God. But it
Yeah.
was maybe about 40 truck drivers, motor
Mm-hmm.
T ops. Sorry, I do this a lot because I want to bring up something because Gunny Harned would always harp on the ex-Dev Marine, so I guess you're gonna end up being a truck driver. And he does that little gesture, and I just crack up every time. So we got
That's funny.
the ops, yeah. So we got the ops, and then you got about maybe about 15 mechanics
Yeah.
in that platoon, and then you got your two staff NCOs, and then you got the excuse me, you got two staff NCOs in maintenance, and then you got one staff NCO in the ops, the truck driver, excuse me, ops section, and then you got the mass art top, raw top. So we got top, and then we got the maintenance officer on deck,
Okay.
whether it's the chief warrant officer or if it's the newly graduate or the new first lieutenant on deck. So I
Yeah.
experienced both the chief warrant officer and the first lieutenant. So third MSB Okinawa. So that was in. So for those who don't know, that's in Ken, Okinawa, and Camp Hansen. Um,
Mm.
what can I say about Okinawa? That's one hell of a culture shock of an experience. I was commuting an hour. Well, excuse me, 30 as you were. 30 minutes, or excuse me, 40 minutes from Camp. I was living in Camp Shields housing, from Camp
Mm-hmm.
Shields, driving all the way up to Ken. So that's about 40
Wow.
minutes. And then after work, there'll be an hour and some change to get back home because of traffic.
Yeah. Wow.
So let's see. Yeah, so that's Okinawa. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about. So this is probably where I want to talk about billets, right? This is
Okay.
for our transitioners who don't know what to do. Well, I'll just use my experience. So again, so one of the key billets in the motor T field, or specifically maintenance, I was Layette NCO, basically your parts manager NCO. So I
Mm-hmm.
checked into the unit, and so did another gunny. He is now a Master Sergeant Harstein. A huge shout out, and I'm gonna get deeper with Master Sergeant Harstein in a bit. But so I was placed. So me freaking out, having panic attacks, going to Okinawa, and having a fake smile, fake it till you
Mm-hmm.
make it type of
Yeah.
mindsets. You know, because I'm freaking out. I'm gonna be. like what if Marines ask me, how do I do this? Oh, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know how to deal with that. But, the then Gunnery Sergeant Harstein, well, okay, for intents and purpose and respect, Master Sergeant Harstein, he placed me into the Layettes billets,
Hmm.
basically being a parts manager. And not
Yeah.
just only that, I'm also learning GCSS. Did you use GCSS in the Banfield?
I don't think so. What exactly is that?
So GCSS is basically Marine Corps tracking system. So I should know this. So
Oh, okay.
GCSS,
No.
so so it stands for Global Combat Support System, or yeah. So basically we use GCSS to track trucks, assets, parts, and tools, or anything that has a serial number on it.
Right. I don't think we're a part of that system specifically. I mean, obviously, we have like our instrument repair techs. They keep track of all of our serialized gear and stuff like that. But
Yeah, and
I'll be honest, I don't know 100%.
yeah, and I hope any of the current band fleet members, I kind of recommend they use GCSS. Just only they can.
Mhm.
That'll be a good conformity with the Marine Corps, but maybe a good way to track our assets, our musical instruments, and our repair instruments. I know the band operates
Yeah.
differently, but I'm just thinking it in terms of integrating the Marine Corps, right? One team, one fight
Yeah.
type of deal. But anyway, so my time as Layette, so Master and Harstein showed me the ins and outs of GCSS and how to manage parts.
Hmm.
And when me and him checked into the unit, it was a shit show. And what I mean by a shit show, so the previous maintenance chief basically had our Marine. So one thing about the motor team community, we're also notorious of doing 10 plus hours of maintenance, maybe up to 16 hours, depending on the readiness of the platoon. But no, this maintenance chief was running MSB Marine Motor Team Marines down to the freaking ground.
Oh,
There's
wow.
no morale. Yeah, so that's something as a maintainer you do not want to do to your Marines,
Yeah.
unless we do what is called a maintenance stand down, which is basically 2 hours of, or excuse me, 2 weeks of 16-hour maintenance, basically every day,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
only 30-minute chows.
Oof.
So luckily with Massarn's leadership, we had hour and a half chows. So, go go
Nice.
PT. I go PT with Massarn Harstein, and then Stassarn Win, who is now, I believe I think he's a chief warrant officer too now in the
Okay.
Motor T the Motor T field now. So I would PT with them, and that was, good times. Well, we see besides me with the staff, but also a handful of Marines that, mainly the maintenance Marines that will work out with them with Matt Harstein's
Yeah.
um his um his workout regimens, and those were pretty good. What else can I say? So going back to billets, for my transitioner, so
Hmm.
layette. So what can we do with that? Okay, you can work at a parts store, you can work at a AutoZone, you can work at O'Reilly, or you can work with JB Hunt, be the the parts manager,
Hmm.
utilize that as your resume. So speaking of billets, so as a sergeant, or excuse me, sergeants and above, we basically write fitness reports, correct? Or
Yeah.
all right, no, there was another term. I forgot what it's called. It's not fitness reports, but it's part of it. When you write out all your accomplishments.
Oh, you're talking about the worksheet, the
Yeah.
MROW. Yeah.
Yep. So, that's basically a good introduction to writing a resume. And I
Yeah.
wasn't sure, and I'm pretty sure you were there, the APES, right? For the junior Marines and the
Hmm.
corporals,
Yeah.
typing up their accomplishments. So I think that would be like a good stepping stone to prep Marines getting out of the Marine Corps. So
Yeah.
Layette's under Matt Sergeant Hartstein's leadership. So imagine this staff NCO, super, 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 very high energy, a gunny at the time. Oh, by the way, a drill instructor. Yeah, he flicks
Yeah.
switches like it's crazy. But the thing is, no, he flicks switches. He has that mentality, but his demeanor is very, very, very calm and collective.
Yeah.
Like he's basically the individual I want to emulate whenever I start my own business. Like he's very
Yeah.
calm and collective. Um, mentioning his name, you know, he's a big name in the Motor T community. Especially when he was in before he went to MSB, he was at Third Maintenance Battalion in Okinawa, right? And it was
Hmm.
at yep, Camp Kinzer. So, he basically did the 6 year tour in Okinawa. Epcot,
Yeah.
I think that was the
It's
term.
got, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and also he has 7 kids, but plus 8 kids. I think he just had another kid,
Wow.
and yeah. So I think that's part of the reason why he probably stayed in Okinawa, the logistics with all that kids. Because when he
Yeah.
got in the drill field, I believe when he got to the drill field, he only had like 2 kids, and he popped out, bam, eight that 7 plus kids. I lost track of how many, but anyways, I think him being a parent kind of
Hmm.
like, you know, kind of help them. I think it kind of helped them emulate what a staff NCO should be. He was
Right.
like the parent type, but he was very, very, very calm and collective. But he can split switch drill instructor mode if he has to. But it was very, very rare. But also a huge shout out to him because he is, I think, from his leadership example is a type of example how a motor T unit should be run, or at least in the maintenance section. So when you
Right.
have a gunny or a gunny having corporals run the show, he's doing something right. And
Yeah.
under his leadership, we also had 2 corporals that were platoon sergeants within that unit, just
Mm.
because just
Nice.
because of his leadership. So yeah, so I'll touch that and I'll touch into that. So, you know, so with his leadership of, him giving me the tools of how to be a Layette's Marines,
Hmm.
going back to the previous leadership, like Layette's, all the parts it was all scattered. GCSS, the tracking system was so out of whack. And plus,
Mm.
when MSB was going through a transition mode. So they were known as MHG, Marine Headquarters Group. So making that transition, so we had to do a lot of GCSS working, and we st and we stood and we st and I stayed late because I stayed late, and I made that conscious decision in order for me to compensate for my lack of competence in turning and burning and wrenching. I might as well just be a GCSS guru, and that's what I did. So again, tying back to billets,
Right.
for our listeners out there, take notes. So yeah, so his so that happened. So I ran Layettes, billet holders. This is one thing he would always talks about. The billet holders are your money makers, right? So just to expand it for like the band community, for example, so you got
Hmm.
your travel NCO, the one
Yeah.
that handles the GTCC card.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
So you got that, then you got your supply Marines, right? Your band from the
Hmm.
band side, getting your reeds, your double
Yeah.
reeds, your what is it called? Your your oil valve,
Yeah.
all the necessities that makes the band function, right? So, supply, what other billets, besides your respective instrument that you play. Okay, that's a billet, but hey, what can I use in the real world as a
Yeah.
bassoonist? Hey, I can practice for 10, or excuse me, an hour, basically discipline, basically,
Hmm.
utilizing discipline as your key feature when you're creating your LinkedIn account. Did you create a LinkedIn account during your TRS or your retirement seminar?
I already had one, but I so mine was a little different than the regular seminar, but
Okay.
yeah, it was decent. Yeah,
Or yeah. Okay, so we talked about the ban. Okay, so going back to billet holders, you're in supply, you know how to run, you know how to deal with, shipping and receiving. So boom, you can work for UPS, you can work at
yeah,
Amazon, You you know,
yeah.
you is basically basically what I'm trying to sell is basically our master brief sheets, or excuse me, our help me out again, the pet or not the Pez. I mean, I
You're
forgot what
talking
it's
about the
called.
fit reps.
Yeah, the Fat Reps.
Hmm.
Yeah, basically the Fat Rep. Basically learning how, basically you practice writing down your Fat Rep. Basically,
Yeah,
I handled millions of dollars of Motor T assets. Boom, that's a bullet point for a job resume.
yeah,
But I'm
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
but I'm gonna now we're gonna go we'll continue circling on with the billets,
Hmm.
the billet holders. So the next billet I held, oh my gosh, platoon sergeant again.
Yeah,
I guess Mass Arn Harstein really liked my leadership. He's all like, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and put you in platoon sergeant and fire the other one. And then during this time, this is what happened. Civic 19. Just just for shits and giggles, we're gonna call it Civic 19. I don't want this podcast get canceled. COVID, excuse me, COVID. We're talking
yeah.
about COVID now.
Yeah,
So this was COVID hits. This is what only the key billet holders, all billet holders were report to work immediately every day, which is woohoo out of the house. COVID happened in Okinawa, masks. You have the creation of using skivvy shirts to wear masks.
yeah,
That's ridiculous. Let's see. Yeah, what can I say about being the platoon sergeant in COVID-19? So here, another job resume to scribe out. So handling the whole platoon of Marines. So anytime Marine gets COVID or whatever, we have to do contact tracing. Oh my gosh, that was a freaking
yeah,
headache. And I also, as a platoon sergeant, I had to report to medical, hey, I got X amount of Marines that have COVID.
yeah,
They're quarantined in a room for, those 7 days, 10-day window exposed. Yeah, it was a hell of a headache. Um, Oh my gosh, COVID. Yeah, COVID. Excuse me, Civic 19, Civic 19. Yeah, and then it was also my responsibility to relay to Motor T Ops. Now we're gonna go to a specific billet to Motor T Ops, the dispatchers. Hey, dispatch, be sure we get chow from the chow hall and give it to the quarantine Marines. And I
yeah,
really beat myself up because I would forget. Ooh, bad platoon sergeant, bad platoon sergeant. But
yeah,
I had staff NCO making sure, hey, Sir Kenya, what's going on? Why are the Marines not getting chows? I'm like, I'll be sure to fix that. So I would actually go in my POV and go grab the box chows and go give it to them,
yeah, yeah.
to own up in that responsibility. So me being the
Mhm.
platoon sergeant and then contact tracing, and then I got placed another important billet, the unit transition coordinator. So
Mhm.
for those now, so this is very important for our Marines that are transitioning out. So my responsibility is I coordinate, I make these I coordinate with these Marines. Okay, when you EASing, so I have to track when they EAS, when their 180-day window, hey, no shit, they have to get out of the Marine Corps. So I was responsible for tracking them, but also setting up for TRS. So for those who don't understand what TRS, I mean, every veteran has to go through it, whether it's TRS or TARP or TAP or whatever, regardless branch of service. And then for our regular viewers, basically every service members have to go through a seminar and they pick 4 tracks. Well, during my time, well, when I was in Pendleton before I re-enlisted, we all had to do our TRS. I mean, regardless if you're re-enlisting or not, there was only 2 tracks. It was just Department of Labor and Education.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was at the time. So, uh, moving forward a year or two later, so you got the 4 tracks. So you got Department of Labor basically prepping you everything about prep you as much as you can with Department of Labor and how to do job searching, how to write resumes. What else can I say about Department of Labor? Learning how to climb up the corporate ladder. Yeah, good times. Let's see. So that's 1 track. So the other track is educational track, which is basically how do you utilize your government GI Bill, whether you're doing the Montgomery GI Bill or the post 9/11. All I know is Montgomery GI Bill, you have to basically do a lot of maintenance, a lot of tracking on that. While the post 9/11, somebody else takes care of it. In a sense, I should not say it like that, but I chose the post 9/11. So they call the post 9/11 the forever bill until Congress says screw post 9/11. So
Yeah.
so basically, you're in this track to see what colleges or majors you're interested to, but learning how to use the GI Bill comparisons tool, comparison. Well, we'll use your state, Oklahoma. Is that where you're from, right?
Yeah. Oklahoma. Yeah.
I like Oklahoma. Brahms. I love Brahms. A little side story of Brahms. Oh my gosh, I love when so trucking going through Oklahoma. I had to go to Brahms twice. One because I was already full, so I ended up getting 3 scoops of ice cream for what under $7. And
Yeah.
then I went again the next day to get a burger. I think it was a jalapeno burger. I told him, add some bacon and add some guac into that and some fries. And then I also
Nice.
bought a half gallon of chocolate milk. Good times, man.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
Brahms, shout
Brahms
out.
is definitely nice.
Yeah, but yeah, shout out. So anyways, back to the comparison tool with the GI Bill, or excuse me, with the post 9/11 or Montgomery or whatever. So so you got Oklahoma, University of Oklahoma, you got Oklahoma State
Hmm.
compared to, I don't know, where I'm from, I got College of the Sequoias or
Yeah.
Fresno State or my alma mater. I forgot to throw Fresno State. But yeah, so different costs, you have to take in consideration of
Right.
what the residence fee, the tuition fee, and then if
Mhm.
you're from California, where I'm from, we get what is called the government BOG waiver, basically free education for the community college, almost
Oh,
essentially
nice.
almost
Okay.
free. So yeah. So yeah, talking about that, since we're talking about education, I recommend our current active duty Marines to take advantage of TA. I did use TA while I was in Okinawa. I took one class and it was a business class. A shout out
Okay.
to University of Maryland Global Campus. I took one course for them, and that was a good experience doing an online course.
Hmm.
So yeah, so that's all I can say about the educational part of TRS. And then you also got the career exploration. That was just basically getting in depth of what are you interested. Basically, you took like a series of tests. Okay, basically like a personality test that
Okay.
kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
tracks. Yeah. So like, what are you what are you into? Are you into mechanics? Are you into being a truck driver?
Hmm.
Do you want to remain within your MOS and being a mechanic for a tire warehouse? Or you're a
Right.
bandsman, you want to look into instrumental repairman? Oh,
Hmm.
you're a field marine. Okay, your MOS was field. You want to be in that industry still, handling hazmats. But
Right. Yeah.
anyways, the career exploration, comparing it from your current MOS and as well as exploring other parts of you. Okay, so your main passion is music production. Okay, here's some courses right here. Take Coursera or what's the other one?
Oh yeah, I got
Coursera, so those free
that.
online classes. So that and other vocational. The cost of going to barber school. I even thought about barber
Mm,
school only because my mom's
yeah,
a barber. So shout
yeah.
out to my mom, single mother that took care of me. She was trying to get me to do barber school for a long time, but when I was transitioning out, I was actually thinking about that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah,
anyway, so that's
barbers can make some good money if you get the repeat customers.
yep.
Man, you can
No,
make
I know
good
my
money.
yeah, my mom's the testament to that. She's been a barber for so I'm 36 years old. She's been a barber for yeah, over 30 years. Shout out
Wow.
to the Rosie Barber Shop.
Nice.
So and then the last track is called Boots to Business. For me,
Hmm.
that's a very important one to me because after my experience of the scenic route of the Marine Corps from Naval School of Music,
Yeah.
avionics and motor T, and seeing the different animals of the Marine Corps and MSTs, it kind of inspired me to be an entrepreneur. But anyways, back to the Boots to Business.
Okay.
That was basically a 2-day track where a universe I forgot what this college professor is from, but he was also giving online classes in Okinawa and Korea for the Marines
Hmm.
taking advantage of TA. But anyways, he
Yeah.
was giving a rundown how to run a business, doing a startup, taking out the VA business loan.
Hmm.
Let's see what else did he talk about? What kind of business, you're gonna have the ups and downs of being an entrepreneur. And it also went back to also my time when I was in hold on. Before I get to that story, I'll finish up with the Boots to Business seminar. But he gave us a PDF of everything, though, for me to
Yeah.
look back to be, basically a business startup. Do you want to have a small, basically it's just more small business.
Hmm.
Let's see what
Yeah.
else can I say about that. But it also, but also, I wanted to Boots to Business because it goes back to my time in maintenance battalion. So me going back to
Hmm.
maintenance battalion for a second. So I met this sergeant. I'm gonna give a shout out to Sergeant Curran Morano. He was doing Amway at the time and being a sergeant, but he put something he planted a seed in my head long time ago.
Hmm.
When you have how like we have to when we have task saturation with our NCOs,
Yeah.
right? So
Hmm.
you have the we'll just for all intents and purposes, I'm going to use sergeants because he was using me, himself, and other sergeants. So you got a sergeant. So you got Sergeant A. He's the platoon sergeant. He has key billets. And then you got other sergeants that's basically a GP mechanic. But the thing is, they're both getting paid the same rate, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
One Marine's being overly tasked, one's the skating. And that's
Yeah.
just not fair, right? So he planted that in my head. So he introduced me to Amway because, he saw something in me. But anyways, I checked out one of his courses, or he took me to one of his little meetings. Yeah,
Hmm.
we were in the down low and about it anyways, and that was pretty cool about like testimonies of entrepreneur, multi-level marketing, basically, promoting the product. Me and my wife were into the product, but Amway kind of got canked or got shut down because I got orders to Okinawa. But he
Yeah.
planted that seed, and then after going through a couple of courses, I ran, that's when I started reading about Rich Dad Poor Dad. I don't know if you read that book.
I have not. No.
All right. Just out of curiosity, are you planning on being a bit? Are you gonna get into small business in that type of routes?
No. Not really. This is pretty much all I'm gonna do. So
All right. Well, if you
yeah.
decided to get into entrepreneurship and to have a better understanding about book, Robert Kiyosaki, Attention to Orders. He was also a Marine. He was a he's
Okay.
a he was a he was a Marine Corps. He was a pilot in the Marine Corps. He fought
Okay.
in Vietnam. He fought in Vietnam. Um, what can I say? There's a lot of things I can say about him, but just to shorten it up, he's a helicopter pilot Marine. He basically had gunners in his helicopters, just doing their thing, shooting at the enemy. But
Yeah.
anyways, I recommend you read Rich Dad Poor Dad. He would also
Okay.
talk about he definitely talks about his Marine Corps experience as a Marine officer, but also
Mhm.
being an entrepreneur. Basically, the story about Rich Dad Poor Dad. His poor dad, his biological father, he was an advocate of education, right? The
Mhm.
Go after your bachelor's degree. Okay, go after your master's degree. You know what? Go after your doctorate. But the
Yeah.
crazy thing about poor dad, he doesn't know the concept of how taxes work. But when he talks about his rich dad, which is basically his best friend's father, he is basically a a businessman that does not have a businessman that does not have a high school education, but he had to take over his
Mhm.
father's businesses and he had to learn on the fly.
Yeah.
So basically, based on his story, which Rich Dad Poor Dad, basically learning how money works.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it as that. But if you're inspired to be an entrepreneur, I recommend that you read Rich Dad Poor Dad, or at least learn, or at least to learn about him as a Marine.
Mhm.
You should look up into him.
Okay.
You can find the audio on YouTube, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it's in there somewhere, I guaranteed, because it always gets copyright struck, but someone else
Mhm.
would upload it. Rich Dad Poor Dad. You'll learn a lot about
Okay.
this Marine. But
Got it.
anyways,
Yeah. I'm gonna look it up.
yeah, so that kind of inspired me to be a serial entrepreneur. That is later down. I mean, I'll get into my hopes and dreams later, but we're gonna go ahead and finish up the me being the TRS Marine, or yeah, TRS coordinator. So, a billet or fitness report bullet for that is basically, being in charge of the three of almost the entire three MEF and tracking all of the Marines of three MEF and sending them to TRS. That was a
Wow.
headache 'cause I had to track Marines. Hey, be sure you go to TRS. Did you go to TRS? I'm like freaking going up to every Marine. Hey, Gunny, you're don't forget to go to TRS. Well, not for the retiring service members, but they call it the pre-retirement. I think is that's you went to, correct? While everybody else went to
Yeah.
TRS.
Well, I can't remember what it was called when I went to it, but it was like
Yeah,
it's the like the E9 level, and then like I think it was like the colonel or whatever level, the
yeah,
business. I
yeah.
don't remember.
Yeah. So what's also crazy too, I had to hunt them down because after they completed TRS, I had to get their certification paperwork for me to upload, and I have to
Mm,
report to um the the TRS coordinator above me. I had two gunnies, staff sergeant. Well, now he's a Gunny Bosch, and Gunny Sergeant Swantek. I give them kudos to them because with those two staffing NCOs, we basically made TRS run
yeah.
smoothly the transition. Um. So yeah, so that's it for the TRS billet, but we can always touch onto billet billets and how to apply that to a current job. All right, so
Yeah.
boom. So COVID, so going back to COVID, the controversy of
Hmm.
taking the Alpha May. I'm gonna call it. I took the Alpha May Johnson. So hint JJ. I took the so took the Alpha May
Yeah. Yeah.
Johnson. But yeah, I need to touch on to the COVID thing. But anyways, I took the Alpha May Johnson. Whether you took the Vaseline, I'm gonna call it the Vaseline because we're getting screwed over. So yeah, so COVID sucks. We weren't allowed to. We had to do the social distancing. We
Hmm.
couldn't really go any. We couldn't really go off base really. for a good
Yeah.
solid year and a half, a good solid year and a half until
Wow.
restrictions got lifted. But it was just really stupid in Okinawa though. But I think it helped. There was not that much incidents, you know. I didn't there was not much of the horror
Yeah.
stories of Okinawa, right? I didn't experience that, but I think
Hmm.
COVID kind of like really, really, really isolated everybody, you know, and especially in this digital media, social media age where we're just on our little phone and you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um yeah, and then you also had the Marines that did not get the Vaseline or the Ofame Johnson or the Fizz or the P Fizz or the Moderno.
Yeah.
So I also happen to be one of those Marines that did not want to take the Vaseline at the time.
Hmm.
But of course, you know, if you don't take it, you know, it's an automatic admin set. So I happen to be one of the
Yeah.
handful of Marines that end up taking the jab at the very, 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 very last minutes.
Hmm.
But anyways, it just sucked. We also had Marines that were ROM a whole a whole 30 days of ROM. So he just got out of
Yeah.
ROM, but he got contact with another Marine that got civid, and then he had to go back to his barracks room. Holy
Yeah.
crap. Those, you know how those barracks are, right?
Hmm.
Unless you're one of the lucky Marines that have the barracks where they have the common room in the center and then the rooms and
Oh
the
yeah.
whatchamacallit. Yeah. But imagine, yeah, like I don't know. I don't know how I can handle it, but serious of case of,
Yeah.
isolation, what it could do to a human being, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Um, Managing that and then, going back to reporting to medical, hey, here are my Marines on hand that are on quarantine, ones that are
Hmm.
on deck to work, one that are just in their rooms because we're doing fire teams. Fire team A come and work, fire team
Yeah.
B, C, etc. So it's just but all the key billet holders, so luckily I was busy. Thank God for my billets. So yeah, COVID. So one thing I didn't
Wow.
want to touch on COVID. So if you don't take the Ofame Johnson, hey, you're gonna get admin sep. So I was responsible writing paperwork of three of my Marines, or excuse me, two of my Marines and one other Marine from what's the word from S1. I had to
Hmm.
process them out. Well, I did more of the TRS part, but that that
Right.
that's heartbreaking. But also the service members, you know, it's a good chunk of our service members being separated from the military because they don't want to take the Civic 19, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was heartening. And then also my wife's friend, that my wife's friend, her husband, a sergeant of Marines, could have picked up staff, but he said no to the Alpha May Johnson, so he got admin set that. So that sucks. So
Wow.
missing
Yeah.
out, you miss out of your benefits, you miss out of your GI Bill benefits. But there's only one reason. Hold on, before I even touch to that story, let me see. MSB, Chow. Okay, so this is my story of why I took the jab. The reason why I took it, I'm like, you know what? I'm being compromised. I did not want to take the jab, but I have to do it for my wife. I have to do it for my dog. We we
Hmm.
we I've we've been trying to have kids for a long time before baby Christian happened, but I'll talk about Christian a little bit later. So it's because I also wanted to be a drill instructor for the Marine Corps to give back to the
Hmm.
Marine Corps. That was my intent. So I took the Alpha May Johnson, and then I was given a new billet. So I was still the UTC for the MEF, but I was also at now Master Sergeant Harstein puts me into tool room. So boom, another billet point for autos, for the automotive uh the automotive industry, tool room being the tool manager, but I also became the calibrations NCO basically. So what that means is so there's certain tools that we have to use. So for example, like the what is it called? Radiator cap pressure gauge. That's a
Hmm.
tool that needs to be calibrated. So I have to grab all the calibration tools to I had to drive all the way to Kinzer and make the drop over there, and then I have to do my GCSS and track the calibration tools. So I'm pretty sure you got calibration tools in the music field, right? I mean, especially for the instrumental repairmen. Uh-oh, what's going on?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, they definitely have calibration stuff that they have to do. So yeah, I understand.
Yeah. But I take it they don't have to go all the way to to maintenance battalion to drop it off.
I don't think so. No, I think it's
Yeah.
stuff that they either get calibrated themselves, or it's something that they would have to ship to a specific company that makes that part or that tool.
Yeah, so calibration. So cool, me bringing tools, but I deal with calibration Marines, basically calibrating tools, and then it made me think about my two Lance Corporal avionics Marines, Lance Corporal Adams and Lance Corporal Nicholson, because they were calibrations and avionics. So I could imagine, oh wow, I could put two and two together, calibrating tools and calibrating assets. So boom, ding ding ding, another bullet a little bullet a bullet mark for for your job resume. So
Right.
yeah, that was pretty cool. I don't want to use the word skate, but yeah, basically driving all the way from Hanson all the way to Kinzer just to drop off calibration tools. That's so funny. But I would also make a quick trip to Bulldog Grill. Shout out to Bulldog Grill. Best burgers in the island. Well, they have
Oh
one in
yeah.
Yeah. Did Bulldog Grill happen in Foster? You weren't there? So
I don't
basically,
remember that. No.
all right. So you know where the bowling alley at up in Foster?
Yeah.
So there was the Bulldog. So it was a burger joint and a pizza joint, and they were phenomenal. They're
Huh.
they're really top-notch burgers and pizza. So shout out to Bulldog Burger and Shisa Pizza in Camp Foster. Ura. What was I saying?
Nice.
So calibration. So I would go over there, make my Bulldog Grill or Shisa Pizza call, and then make a quick PX call, then bam, back to the shop.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
but 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 at the same time, in seriousness, again, I'm handling calibrations, so it's also my responsibility to report to these tools, not just to Gunny, but to the maintenance officer,
Hmm.
or yeah, the he's not the so maintenance. I mean, that's for the chief warrant officer route, but when we have our first lieutenant on deck, he's the logistics officer, so I had to report to him. Okay, here,
Right.
sir, these are all the assets. So boom, tool room, good times, Jab McQuist. So that's when so now I decided to put on a DI package, right? Basically end up getting an extension to October of 2025. I know we're in 2024, but we'll talk. We're getting into that. So now I took the Alpha May Johnson. I was really furious taking it again. It goes against what I was believing in. But that's when I decided, yeah, I want to dedicate myself to be a drill instructor and give back to the Marine Corps. So the very first thing after I took Alpha May Johnson, I went back to the pool. I went to the pool, and then I was starting to do McQuist stuff because I wanted to do McQuist for the fleet and for being a drill instructor.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I was really, really, really pounding in the pool. I got into pool swimming when I was in college. I just basically for college PE credits. But anyways, yeah, going through McQuist and advanced swim qual, that shit
Hmm.
sucks. A lot of
Yeah.
well, yeah, I took the extreme. I took about 30 days of leave just to focus on McQuist. And that kind
Oh
of like
wow.
hurt me. It hurt me in the long run because I injured my rotary cuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So when I do pull-ups, I feel that slight tear, and then plus me being a fat body, always plus or minus.
my weight standard. I can still knock out double digit pull-ups. I think the most I've ever recorded, like as far as, for the PFT, I couldn't break 17 pull-ups, so
Yeah.
I couldn't break it, but yeah, but if I had to break it, I would have to lose the pounds.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But anyways,
Makes sense.
yeah, so DI package. Um so Mass Arn Harstein, so like yeah, so you're gonna do yeah, so I then boom, all over again I'm having panic attacks like, oh shit, what if I don't make it in the drill field? I had those thoughts playing around my head. And then
Yeah.
after doing the quiz or trying to do the McQuiz course and the what do you call it, the advanced course, and failing out of it, it
Hmm.
was a huge loss for me because like bleh, because I really slayed myself. But because
Yeah.
I put so much emphasis in swimming, I forgot about my running, my pull-ups, and my crunches.
Hmm.
So it was like, oh shit, I gotta prep for freaking DI school. But also at that time, because I had that DI school date coming around in the corner, again having
Hmm.
panic attacks about it. Um, having panic attacks about it. I was put back to the shop floor. Now again, the boogeyman dealing with the Powers and Calvillo. I'm going back to the two shitty Lance Corporals back at maintenance
Hmm.
battalion and me being the sergeant. Now it's like fuck. Now I have to spread knowledge in the maintenance. Everyone knew in the platoon knew I wasn't a freaking mechanic, but oh my gosh, I was that's when my head went spiraling really, really, really bad. And even though
Yeah.
I had my peers at my side, Staff Sergeant Martinez, he was my one of my peers as sergeant at the time. Shout out to him because he made it through DI school. It was like, hey, Sarkinia, I have to remind you, you made it. You're a sergeant. Congratulations. You made it. All you have to do is just worry about delegation and admin stuff. And even better, I'm all like, bro, like, I don't know. I have that cognitive dissonance. If I'm not a mechanic, how am I supposed to lead Marines, you know? He was getting
Yeah.
through my head. Sergeant Martinez, or excuse me, as he were, Staff Sergeant Martinez, like, hey, and I'm all like, hey, did you do sergeant school yet? Well, I did that maintenance battalion. Boom, you have it freaking made. It's just a matter of time for you to be a staff sergeant. You just got a qual, but like, I don't know, it was not in my head. And then I had all my peers, my sergeant peers, hey, Ronnie, like sometimes we'll do the first name basis. Hey, Ronnie, I know this sucks, but if you need anything, we're here for you. But I became so freaking withdrawn again. Going back into the back in the shop floor doing maintenance, I had confidence. I feel like I was in a video game and basically starting Motor T all over
Hmm.
again, but as a sergeant. But, when certain maintenance procedures that need to be done, that is out of my how do I say it? Out of my expertise.
To all the listeners out there, thanks for tuning in. Remember, if you're struggling, you need some help, you're thinking about hurting yourself, something like that, you can always utilize the VA. You can dial 988, press option 1. You can also text 939-288, or you can go to veteranscrisisline.net, click on that chat icon. Any of those options are going to get you in contact with somebody that can help you out. Uh, Once again, one veteran life loss is one too many. I care about you. I know everybody else cares about you. So please, please, please go and get the help that you need. All right. Hey, thanks again for coming on. I very much appreciate it. And to all the listeners out there, stay motivated, change your socks.